What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success, and in this video right now, what I want to talk to you about is how to choose a name for your clothing brand. And I'm going to be giving you this information as somebody who has a weird brand name myself for my own clothing brand. I'm going to talk to you about my reasons for that, and I'm going to just give you really a guide for how you can choose a really solid brand name for your own clothing brand. This video here is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd, and I use Design Crowd myself. What you do is you post a project on Design Crowd, and designers from all around the world are going to submit designs for you, and then you select the winner, and then that design becomes yours. You can use it inside of your clothing brand, and honestly, the designs that I've gotten from them have been absolutely amazing. I highly recommend you check it out. designcrowd.com/apparel for a special $100 VIP offer, or use the discount code APPAREL when you post a project on Design Crowd. Choosing a name for your clothing brand is a very interesting concept because it's not an exact science, and a lot of this comes down to your own feel, your own intuition, and maybe an insight that you have particularly into what your audience would be interested in. And I know for my own clothing brand, K-Bud Apparel, a lot of people who are outside of the audience that I'm targeting don't understand it, and they probably think that it's a really, really stupid name. And if they were to look at my clothing brand, they'd say, how the hell is this guy ever able to sell any of his clothing with a name like that? But the thing is, the reason why we came up with that name wasn't because I just generated a random idea off the top of my head, thinking that somebody might find it cool. It's from looking at what our audience is doing, how they talk, and the words that they use on social media, and recognizing that people in rural Canada write bud a lot, and they spell it the same way that we do. And so that's why we incorporated it into the name of our brand, is because we knew that if we put K-Bud inside of a brand name, it would actually land with the target audience. And so as much as it's creative, as much as it's different and unique, it's still grounded in reality, in a trend that's actually real and that people actually resonate with. An important point to make here is that if we'd used a generic brand name like Canadian Apparel rather than K-Bud Apparel, and K-Bud Apparel is essentially Canadian slang worked into our brand name, if we'd use that generic name, we probably wouldn't be doing as well because we wouldn't be unique and we wouldn't be different. We'd basically just be just like every other Canadian clothing brand that exists out there that's trying to compete in this space. And the fact that our name is K-Bud Apparel really separates us and distinguishes us from all the other brands out there. And ideally, you want to have a reaction when people hear the name of your brand or read the name of your brand that lights up some emotion in them, right? And with us, it's funny. Anytime anybody hears our brand name that's in Canada and within our audience, they laugh at it. They think that it's really funny, like K-Bud. It's like just like a stupid, silly brand name, but it's different and people think it's funny. And that is in large part a lot of what our brand comes from, what our brand value stems from is Canadian humor. And it really ties into our brand name that way. So if you can think of a brand name that isn't just generic and that actually creates a reaction from your audience when they hear about it, it's gonna really help you in the long run. A really sick brand name that I came across recently while doing the brand reviews for Apparel Success was Drawls. And Drawls is basically an underwear brand, and the reason why he came up with that name is because he noticed that the audience that he's selling to calls underwear Drawls. And so he knew that if he made that his brand name, it was gonna immediately connect more than just being a name like underwear, right? And if he calls it Drawls, people are gonna be like, oh, yeah, I use that word, and yeah, this completely connects with me right off the bat more than any other underwear brand does. And I think that if you're able to do that in whichever way you can, it's gonna really help. Now, one thing that you definitely don't want to do when you're coming up with the brand name is get too creative. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you just come up with an idea off the top of your head and it's not grounded in something in the real world, then nobody's gonna understand what your brand's about, and you're basically gonna be left with this brand that only you understand and that only you get and that nobody wants to buy. And really the definition of creativity is coming up with a new idea for something, a new concept that is actually practical in the real world. And basically, when you come up with an idea that's fresh and that's new and that's actually grounded in something that's real and that's happening in the real world, then people are going to be able to connect with it, and it's going to be unique and stand out from all the other brands out there. Also, another thing is try not to make your brand name too long, because if your brand name's too long, people are gonna have to be typing that into Google all the time to find your website, and people are gonna have to be talking about it all the time, and if they can't remember it, then it's gonna be something that really doesn't stick in their heads long enough to tell their friends about, and it's just way easier if you come up with a simple brand name, maybe 1 or 2 words at best, because that will help it travel and it will also make it just much more easily accessible online. To end this video off, definitely follow your heart here and follow your gut, because if you feel like you have a brand name that you really like, that you really want to go with, and you believe in it, then there's nobody else out there that can tell you wrong, because at the end of the day, a lot of this starts with your own creativity, and like I said at the beginning of the video, it's really not a perfect science, and a lot of it is your own artistry and your own personal touch. Check out my clothing brand marketing masterclass. It's 100% free to watch. All you have to do to get access is go to apparelsuccess.com/masterclass. Watch the whole thing for free. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group that we have going on for Apparel Success. There's a link in the description. Follow that link, join us in the group. See you in the next one. Peace.